SoulCalibur VI came out, and I like it for the most part. The quick rundown: gameplay is tight, fast-paced, and exceptional. Story modes are a little lame sometimes, but forgivable. Netcode is, well, it's netcode, and the roster is practically top-notch, with most of the fan favorites too. But there's one thing I don't see enough people bitching about, and fuck me, if I have to die on Bunker Hill to kick off the revolution, then so be it. What the fuck happened with creation mode? Seriously, where the hell is everything? This is just pathetic. Listen, it's a fact to say that creation mode is one of the main draws of SoulCalibur for a lot of people, myself included. It's one of my favorite things about the SoulCalibur games, and I use it for all kinds of things, from customizing the main cast, to bringing a whole slew of guest characters into the action, to making a whole roster of my own cringy OCs. With SoulCalibur V, say what you will about the rest of the game, but the creation mode in that was pretty damn robust. Look at all these options, so many helmets, armor pieces, accessories, lingerie pieces. In SoulCalibur VI, where the hell did they go? Now if you think I'm just gonna voice my complaint and leave it at that, friends, you don't know jack shit in his gang of merry men, because we're going deeper. SoulCalibur VI's selection of parts is dismal, at best. The vast majority of the stuff from prior games is not here, and any new stuff is just the costume pieces from the current cast. Oh, why is that such a big deal, Mitch? You ask about the lack of returning gear. Isn't that a bad thing to recycle content? You know, sometimes you're right about that. But here's the thing, the stuff that did return is directly ported from SoulCalibur V, and I'm talking a minimum effort port here. Barely updated and up-res models and textures. And the stuff that did get carried over is so bizarre of a choice, it just makes me question why. A lot of this stuff is too stylistic and precise. SoulCalibur VI's major problem is it's missing a lot of the simple options that offer a greater degree of flexibility. Like look, leather bracers? Gone. Boots that don't cover your entire leg? There's 3. Helmets? No ninja mask? Oh, okay. Oh hey, the Gorgon helmet is back. Wait, wasn't that part of a set of other armor pieces? Where's the rest of it? Good to see the dancer stuff making a return, but where's the rest of the pieces? Where did they go? Well, shucks. Here's a good example of what I'm talking about numbers-wise. There's a total of 267 costume pieces for the male humans, roughly. I counted myself. By the way, this number is drastically smaller for the other male races. I'll be talking all about races later. Of those 267, a whopping 74 pieces are just the costume pieces of the current roster. Appreciated for being there, don't get me wrong, but when you subtract, that leaves you with a total of just 193 pieces of gear. Now, that might seem like a lot, but it's really not. It's split over 13 categories. That's roughly 14 pieces of gear for each category. And of all those 193 pieces, every single one is a port from SoulCalibur V. Now, according to a gentleman who did the work for me on the internet, there was a total of 250 something armor pieces missing that were in base game SoulCalibur V. That's quite a lot. And like I said, what makes it worse is that all the items that are not from the main roster's costumes are ported over. There's nothing new. And the items that are ported over just seem so random. It's like they threw all the gear options into a hat and just pulled things out at random. Now, people out there are making excuses, and I'm gonna debunk them all right now. Excuse number 1. They switched to a new engine and porting the models might be harder than you think because they might be incompatible or need updating. Boy, that's not how modeling works! SoulCalibur VI is using a different engine, that's true. So they would have to write new code for each of the armor pieces, that much is also true, but the models themselves should function just fine. You see, SoulCalibur VI uses the Unreal Engine, arguably the most popular engine for big developers to use to design games. Because the Unreal Engine is pretty universal, it's designed from the ground up to be modular and very flexible. I'm getting that straight from the horse's mouth. That being said, pretty much any 3D modeling program is set up so there's a raw project file where the sculpt is made, and then that gets exported into a codified form in whatever particular file type you need. And all the common and popular modeling programs can do at least one file type that works with Unreal Engine. Thus, these are models that are already made and already exist. Unless they made these models in the most backwards and convoluted program, there is no reason they shouldn't be able to update them pretty easily and export them to the new engine. Excuse number 2, this game had a limited budget and a lot of the funds went to making sure the graphics were good and the gameplay was top notch. Get off me, son, that's a barrel full of horseshit and mayonnaise. Remember, most of the work is already done. It would cost practically nothing to port all these models. The most work that would have to be done is writing new code for the pieces. But here's the thing, I'm willing to bet that most of the code for the pieces in creation mode are all copied from the same basic templates, with just a little bit changed here and there so they don't overlap and look right. That's practically zero work too. Are you telling me there wasn't some poor unpaid intern they couldn't stick on a computer in the corner to do this shit for them? Really? Excuse number 3, Bandai Namco was too scared that this game would do bad, so they wanted to nail the fundamentals first. Cowardice is not an excuse. If that's true and they wanted to make SoulCalibur catch on again, wouldn't it be best to try to give players as much content as possible instead of less? You're trying to invigorate a game series so you give us an empty shell of a game that's pretty bare bones? That's ridiculous. Fundamentally and absurdly ridiculous. Seems like management not understanding game design. I don't make games, I just play them. But Christ almighty and his pet goat Pablo, I feel like I understand how to sell video games better than these blokes. Excuse number 4. The creation mode features races, which would make porting objects difficult due to having to make them viable on all the races. Oh, fuck off with your nonsense, Charlie. See, I'd be apt to agree with you save for one key detail you left out there. Of all these 16 races, exactly 4 use a non-standard model of the regular humanoid. The rest are just the male and female models retextured. Of the 4, you have a skeleton, which was a costume piece ported from SoulCalibur V. A mummy, which was a costume piece ported from SoulCalibur V. The Malefact, which just has a different head. And a lizard man, which is pretty much the only new model and the only one wildly different than the rest of the options. And also, all of these races are pretty much the human model, but have less options for customizability than regular humans. Like, there are a handful of things you can even put on the lizard man. That's why people are putting massive scaly cocks on their lizards, because that's pretty much the only creative thing you can do with them. So that being said, just port the shit and don't let us use it on the lizard man. Easy enough, it's what you did with most of what you ported anyway. Excuses, excuses, excuses. If I get called out for making excuses, then so do you. I ain't letting you get away with your tomfoolery. Now what's making me even more mad is that no one's talking about this, at least not the big gaming news sites. Instead, it's the same shit about how there's lizards with penises. I guess that's newsworthy. This is just pitiful. Now the season pass includes 2 armor packs offering 100 plus creation parts, but I'd be willing to wager my lizard's raging cock of unholy fury that all of these items are going to be from SoulCalibur V, and these items should have been here originally, and they're trying to nickel and dime us. Well, congrats, Namco. You got me. You done got me good. You charged me $90 for $30 of content. I bet you feel real proud of yourselves, huh, Namco? That's good. I'm pretty proud of you, Namco. You're a good boy. Who's a good little boy? Who can do no wrong? Good, Namco. Fucking hell. It's gonna be our duty to make a shit show about this. Don't let them get away with their corporate greed. Listen, I'm one of the most pro-capitalist people out there, but when you get even me sounding like a filthy fucking commie, you know you done fucked up.